Namaste and welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. I'm Yamajit, and I'm so very glad that you could join me this evening. We've actually got several people here in our temple room as well. And I want to welcome everybody to the first installment of our series, Chod Practice for the Modern West. I'd like to start out with a couple of announcements. So this coming Tuesday, 7 o'clock, we'll be continuing our series on meditations from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. 7 o'clock, you can join us on YouTube, or you can come to our temple at 1260 South Xavier Street in Denver. And then a week from today, also at 7 o'clock, we'll be continuing our series on the 12 Kalis of the Krama lineage. And we're going to be doing a puja and satsang to Ma Matanda Kali. So we're starting this new series, and because this is something of a very new nature, what I'm doing is sharing some meditation practices that I've been doing for the last several months and have found to be very powerful. So I do want to go through a little bit of a legal disclaimer on that. So this presentation is for educational purposes only and does not claim to diagnose, prevent, or cure any disease or disorder. The advice and methods of this presentation should not be construed as financial, medical, or psychological advice or treatment. Please seek advice from a professional if you have serious financial, medical, or psychological issues. And if a Chod session doesn't feel right to you, do not perform it. By watching and or participating in this presentation, you understand that the results are not guaranteed. Yamajit, John Holland Mayer, Tridevi Chamunda Mandir, and YouTube cannot accept any responsibility for any injuries or damages incurred from the practices and meditations contained in this video. So we've got the legal stuff out of the way. Namaste and welcome again. And I'm going to begin with a short introduction to Chod practice. It's usually spelled C-H-O-D. The D is silent. And this is a traditional meditation practice found within Tibetan Buddhism. Chod means, everyone okay? Chod means to cut or to sever the ego. And this practice allows one to release one's self from negative energies of ego attachments. Culturally, we're conditioned to fear and fight or repress the shadow side of our psyche. In this guided meditation practice, the participant transforms the shadow first by honoring it. So the practices shared in this series are going to be adaptations of the traditional practice and are inspired by the writings of Lama Tsultrim Allione, Baal Kedman, Daniel Odier, the French tantric writer, and the American psychologist Eugene Gendlin. In a future installment, we'll also do a Chod practice centered around the devotion to Ma Vajrayogini, a very important female Buddha figure in both Nepali and Tibetan Buddhism. I'll go ahead and pass this around to everyone. So each month, this will be the first Friday of the month, we'll be doing, for the most part, variations of the basic practice that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening. Help me crack that window open. Is it getting hot in here? Okay. Feel free to do that if you feel a need to. Anyway, back to the introduction. In this practice, inner issues such as insecurities, fears, anxieties, unhealthy patterns, addictions, indecisiveness, depression, or personal are personified as inner demons. And we can use this practice to help us to understand and work also with any psychological issues behind some physical conditions or symptoms as well. Goal of this practice is to transform and redirect these energies, not by trying to again repress, fight, or destroy them, but by honoring and even by feeding them. Cho stems from the idea that when we try to repress something in our psyche, we're actually empowering and strengthening it. One of my early teachers, the late psychologist Charles Babeau, used to say, for everything you repress, you become obsessed. So Cho practice dates back to Tibet in the early 11th century. It was developed by a female guru named Machig Labron. And there's an interesting legend behind Machig Labron. So when she was still a young student near the temple where she was studying, there was this pool that was inhabited by Nagas. And Nagas are nature spirits, especially associated with bodies of water. They can be fearful presences because they are often in the form of a snake. And you probably haven't been to many meditation classes where the teacher brings a live cobra, well, not live, but real cobra in. That's a bottle of snake wine from Southeast Asia. If you like sake, you'd really like this stuff. But anyway, the people in the surrounding village were afraid of the Nagas living in this pool. And Labran went to the pool, sat by the side of it, and began to meditate. And when the Nagas manifested, she didn't try to fight them in any way or try to get rid of them. She actually offered her body as their food. And the result was they became her spiritual allies. And this is the essence of Cho practice. One offers the demon within what it desires, and in the process, the malevolent energy is transformed into a benevolent one. I once knew someone who shared a story with me that when she was a small child living in this old house in England, she, like a lot of little kids, feared the presence of this monster she believed was just lurking in the dark in her bedroom. And her grandmother gave her the advice, telling her, instead of being afraid of it, make it your friend. So I've been doing variations of this practice, like I mentioned, for the last several months. I found it very effective and feel that I want to share this. So in Cho practice, we think of something disharmonious in our life. Then in meditation, we locate that issue where it's lying, where we feel it in our physical body. Maybe it's a physical, for example, when we think of that issue. And then we imagine that issue as a living being and notice its details. It could be in human form, could be in animal form, or in some mythological form, maybe a combination of human or animal. We ask its name and listen for its response. We ask what it wants. And here's really what's important. After we ask what it wants, we ask what it needs from us, because this can be something very different. And then we also ask how it would feel once we offer them this thing that they need, and listen again carefully to its answers. In traditional Cho, we offer ourselves to the demon, and this can involve imagining our body dissolving into a sweet nectar, which the demon consumes to its complete satisfaction. In other forms, and we'll be doing some variations like this, We observe the demon eating our physical body, or even in vision dismembering our own body with an instrument like this. This is a kartika, which is a sky burial blade, and offering the pieces to the demon to consume. We then observe how the demon is transformed into something else as a result of the feeding, and then we integrate it back into our psyche. So it's like we're taking these energies, we're honoring them, giving them what they need, and through being given that, they transform, and that energy is then redirected into something more balanced in our lives. So what's really important then at the last part of the stage is we pay close attention to when we see that transformation and we reintegrate it. We pay close attention to anything happening on a physical or an emotional level as a result of that. So do you notice any kind of physical release? Is there a feeling of warmth? Does somewhere in the body feel lighter? Is there increased relaxation? And there's a parallel to this in Western psychology. For many years at the University of Chicago, there was a psychologist by the name of Eugene Gendlin. And for about 30 years, he spent his time doing outcome studies in different psychotherapy practices, trying to find out which practices had the longest lasting results. And what he discovered was it was those therapeutic modalities that cause some kind of change in the client or patient's felt sense in their body. When they felt something on the visceral level, the results tended to last much longer and be more transformative. And Gendlin developed a therapeutic practice called focusing and wrote a book about the same title. And as part of this series, where I'm actually going to take you through a focusing session so that you can compare and contrast that. Years ago, when I had a counseling practice, I used Gendlin's methods very often, and just saw wonderful results with them. So after we notice that physical shift, we then spend some time just relaxing in a place of stillness and silence, and just allowing ourselves to fully integrate the practice into our beings. This would be kind of similar to at the end of a yoga class when you lay in shavasana for a while. So traditional Chod involves a guided meditation with guiding chants sung in Tibetan and accompanied by instruments such as the bell, the damaru drum, and the thigh-bone trumpet, or kangling. The drum that I have is rather small. I don't think it's quite as conducive to the deep meditation that I want to do. So I'm going to use another drum from Tibet, this large temple drum. And I think it's very appropriate that we have this painted image on the head of the drum, these four demons dancing around the center. And it's got an amazing sound to it. So the practice we'll be doing, this practice was first adapted for modern use by the Western Lama, Shultrim Alion of the Tara Mandala Center of Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And I highly recommend that you read her book entitled Feeding Your Demons. And you can also take part, she has some guided meditations using her technique on YouTube. Just type in Feeding Your Demons in the browser and you'll find them. Wonderful meditations. Another Western writer, Baal Kedman, shares another adaptation to this practice in his book, Chod Practice Demystified, and I highly recommend this book as well. You find it very easily on Amazon Kindle. So the practices that I'm going to be sharing in this series are largely inspired from the works of these two writers, and I'll also be sharing other variations of this practice as well. So tonight's variation is going to focus on a more benign variation where we're going to envision our bodies dissolving into nectar and that being offered to the demon. So I'd like to begin with a short opening puja, and then I'm going to do an opening meditation using the traditional instruments, the drum, the bell, and the thigh bone trumpet, and then I'll guide you through the meditation. So for our puja tonight, I'd like to honor my mother-in-law, Gail Hollinsby, who's having some health issues right now, and the entire Hollinsby family as well. And we're also going to be honoring with a mantra, short mantra, Ma Bhadrakali, who I mentioned in last week's meditation and satsang, was responsible for ending a war in Nepal over 200 years ago. Nepal was being invaded by an outside army. When the army found out that Ma Bhadrakali had manifested in Nepal, they turned around. So I'm going to do a short mantra, and this is also going to be our Puja Mantra, Om Hrim Bhadrakaliye Namah, for our hopes for peace in Eastern Europe right now. So I invite you to bring the palms of your hands together to heart center. And we're going to open our practice by chanting a single syllable mantra, Hrim, 3 times. So inhale. Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvadastam Gatopiva Yashmare Pandarikaksham Sabhyabhyanta Sushi Om Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvadastam Gatopiva Yashmare Pandarikaksham Sabhyabhyanta Sushi Om Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yashmare Pandarikaksham Sabhyabhyanta Sushi Om Gam Ganapataye Namo Namah Jai Ganesha. Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namah Jai Guru. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Kailase Patona Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Jayanti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Shama Shiva Gatri Svasvada Namostute Jayatvam Devi Chamunde Jayabhutita Harani Jaya Sarvagate Devi Kalaratri Namostute Jai Ma Kali. Om Hrim Bhadrakalye Namah. 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 Let's continue the mantra. Om Hrim Bhadrakalye Namah. 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 Om Rim Bhadrakalye Namah. Pardon me. Jema. 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 So I invite you to close your eyes. Breathe deeply. And let the sound of the drum and the bell guide you into a deeper and deeper state of relaxation. So with your eyes closed and breathing deeply, I invite you to silently declare this intention, this sankalpa for our meditation. We are doing this practice tonight for the benefit of all beings and for the harm of none. So we're going to begin by taking 12 deep, clearing breaths. For the first 3 breaths, we're going to breathe in and imagine the breath is traveling to any tension in the body, and then release this tension with the exhalation. Let's do 2 more. For the second 3 breaths, inhale into any emotional tension and just feel where you hold it in your body, and then release it as we exhale. And for the third set of 3 breaths, breathe now into any mental tension. And as you breathe, feel where you hold nervousness, worries, mental blockages in your body. And again, release them with each exhalation. And now for the final 3 breaths, release the tensions that exist on a spiritual level. These can include any self-doubts that you might have or concerns that somehow you won't be doing this meditation correctly. What you'll experience tonight will be all your own, and there's no right way or wrong way to experience this practice. Inhale. So sit comfortably. I invite you to adjust your position so that you're sitting with a straight back. Those of you at home or are watching this broadcast later, you can also try laying down in Shavasana. Just make yourself comfortable. Maybe roll the shoulders back to open the chest. Make any small adjustments or micro adjustments you might need. And breathe deeply. First, just focus on the breath. Sensations of air entering and leaving as you inhale and exhale. And now I invite you to think about something that is bothering you right now at this present moment. Is it shame? Is it anger? Fear? Anxiety? Maybe sadness? Whatever it is, just think about it for a moment. Don't try to overthink or force anything. Just focus on the first thing that came to you. This is going to be the best issue to focus on tonight in this practice. Now check in with your body. Breathe deeply. Scan your body and find that place where the issue resides. You might notice it as a place of physical tension or maybe a sensation like emptiness in this area. Or it's just somewhere that your awareness just naturally is gravitating to at this moment. Just either way, bring both your breath and your awareness to this physical region. Breathe into that place. Focus on that place. Just be present there. Now begin to visualize what this issue looks like. Don't control it, just watch it and observe it. And begin to visualize the sensation as a living being and see it facing you. If an inanimate object appears, just allow yourself to imagine what it would look like if it were personified as some living being. Could be in human form or an animal, or maybe some mythic form that has both human and animal characteristics. Just observe it, standing or sitting opposite you. What color is this inner demon? What skin surface does it have? Is it smooth, rough, hairy, scaly? What gender is the demon? Male, female, androgynous? How big is it or small is it? What is its character or emotional state? Notice its eyes. Are there any sounds that it's making? And then take a moment to try to notice something else about the demon that you haven't noticed before. Some other quality. And then silently say to this demon, please don't be afraid. Come here, come to me. I have what you desire. Let it approach. And then ask, what is your name? And listen to its response. And then ask, please tell me what you want from me. What can I do for you? And again, listen to or watch its response. And then ask, please tell me what you need from me. And again, listen or watch his response. And finally ask, how will you feel once you receive this? And again, notice its response. Now continue to breathe deeply and begin to dissolve your body into a nectar that has the quality of the feeling that the demon would have when it is satisfied. The body is slowly melting, slowly dissolving. What color is the nectar? Is it thick or runny fluid? Could even manifest as a smoke or a mist. What other qualities are you noticing about the nectar? Does it flow into some kind of container? Does it flow on the ground toward your demon? Just again, watch for the response. And let the demon now feed upon the nectar. Is it licking it up from the ground? Is it picking it up in the container and drinking it? Is it breathing it in? Is it absorbing the nectar in some way? And begin to notice changes as the demon is being fed to satisfaction. And if it seems insatiable, imagine what it would be like if it was satisfied. Notice the changes. Is it changing shape? Is it changing color? Is it fading away only to be replaced by something else? Is it changing into some other object or another individual? Again, just notice that change. Notice the transformation that is taking place. And then, when the transformation has occurred, allow yourself to integrate that renewed energy, that object, that renewed being into your own being, into your own consciousness, into your own psyche. And most importantly, as you do that, become aware of any changes that you notice on a physical level or on an emotional level. feelings are occurring? What changes are happening within the body? Is there a physical release? Is there a feeling of suddenly being lighter or warmer or more open? What emotions are occurring? And then finally, just rest in a place of calmness, of stillness, and of silence. No need to think about anything or doing anything. Just allow yourself to be in this moment and allow yourself to integrate the full experience of this meditation. I invite you now to take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of the meditation and once again bringing your awareness back to the present moment. Notice the sound of my voice. Feel the sensation of your body sitting or laying in the place that it is. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Feeling of the clothes that you're wearing. Breathing normally. I invite you to slowly move your fingers and toes, hands and feet, arms and legs. Maybe give a little stretch. Bringing the palms of your hands together at your heart center. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Om. Jai Ganesha. Jai Guru. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Ma Kali. Jai Ma Bhadra Kali. Jai Ma. I invite you to open your eyes slowly. Namaste. And thank you so very much for joining me. How's everyone doing? So I'm going to share a Chod experience. This happened earlier this week. I was having some free-flowing anxiety that I decided to explore using this exact practice. And so breathing deeply, noticing it was in the solar plexus area. And then visualizing the personification of this energy with this big, nasty, ugly, toad-like creature. I'm a big fan of reptiles and amphibians. I usually think frogs and toads are pretty cool, pretty cute. This thing was hideous. It looked like Jabba the Hutt with warts. And had this big, nasty, long tongue that I was seemed like it wanted empowerment. So I did this nectar, produced this nectar that was greenish in color. It was lapping it up with this tongue, and it slowly shriveled away. And in its place grew this red rose. And then when I brought the red rose into myself, the tension was just gone. It hasn't been back since. So that's a Chod experience. Anyone here have something they feel like sharing? Don't have to, or?
I'll share. I feel like I learned a lot from that presence here. I have a lesson on how to do this. I have been feeling a lot of kind of righteous anger coming up from like a personal level that I don't know about. But it still happens in the personally, and I felt it in two places. I felt it in my heart and kind of right behind my eyes.
Okay.
And I immediately pictured it as a sea.
Uh-huh.
And so then bringing the seed out, when it opened, there was like this red, and my heart was like red, gnarly thing. And then from here, it was a smaller seed, but it was like a blue, more of a blue color.
Mhm.
And it had almost like this mouth to like consume stuff. So when I asked it what it wanted, it said to remain open. So to not be this enclosed kind of like waiting to emerge
Mhm.
thing, just to stay open. And that's what it needed. It was like all things to eventually die, and that wouldn't happen. Like it remained open. So then once I kind of offered that part of myself to like let it be satiated, they both like came into me back in the same places and like grew into these like flower kind of.
Oh, beautiful.
And then the roots were coming back, but the blossoms were like this way. And just like allowing me to remain open. I tried to touch back in with this one so I started like they weren't really there in the same way, just kind of like remaining open and allowing that process to just move into hopefully a place where I think that completion means that it doesn't arise in that kind of contained, restricted way. So
Very nice.
I loved that.
So glad you enjoyed that. Anyone else feel like sharing anything? And you don't have to.
Just feel very peaceful.
And I would say as well, next day or so, maybe over this week, just notice maybe some subtle changes as a result of this practice. Maybe you feel more relaxed. Maybe you handle a situation a little bit differently. Maybe you have a different outlook on something. Maybe just some flashes of insights, some new ideas about things that are really helpful to you. Just allow you to just be open and allow yourself those experiences. So I want to thank everybody. Please feel free to email me any questions or anything you'd like to share at omcdavy. That's AUMC Davy, DEVI, at gmail.com. Always love to hear from you. And look forward to you joining me on Tuesday for our continuing meditations from the Vijnana Bhairab. Have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend ahead. Namaste. Jai Mata Di. Blessings always, and good night.
I think that my meditation